Hello, friends. So we are to the point now where we can talk about the roommate situation and the character performer audition. And I have one little note before I actually go out on my spiel, and that is the first thing you need to do when you get accepted is go get roommates. Go on Facebook, go on Twitter, go on Instagram, go on Path, go on Foursquare. Go get you some roommates. Facebook is the easiest, honestly. There's a Facebook group, several Facebook groups consisting of several thousand people. You can pretty easily find a roommate if you start early. The day I got accepted, which was September 18th, I immediately went on Facebook and started asking if people were looking for roommates, and I was able to find, I think we found all 6 of our roommates by, or within maybe 3 weeks. We had it solidified, and we haven't changed since. So yeah, that was pretty quick. Unfortunately, there are people now, like 25 days from the start of our program, who are asking if anybody has or needs any roommates, and it's I'm gonna assume it's pretty close to impossible because they keep posting. It's the same people that keep posting over and over and over again. So my biggest piece of advice is please go get roommates. Okay, so now we can talk about my experience with getting roommates. I already talked about Facebook a little bit. Facebook, if you go online and you just type in Disney College Program and your year, you'll probably find one official page that's a Disney monitored page, and you'll find several other pages. And as you get closer and closer to your program, groups will start like branching off, and you'll have I'll use some of the groups that I'm in as an example. There's the DCP Oncers. We're all about Once Upon a Time, the TV series. And there's musical theater fans that are in DCP, and there's there's an alumni program. I'm not part of that because I'm not there yet, but there's a lot of branch pages that have come out of it. I did get involved with Facebook pages pretty early. Most of the pages that I'm part of now and that I keep up with only had like 50 or 60 members when I got into them, and now they're up into like 3,000 people. So it's been pretty interesting to watch how the groups grow and to watch the people who like started the group, kind of work with it and work throughout it. Texting. When you get your roommates and I guess you kind of get to know each other, or you're trying to get to know people, try texting. Texting is good. I texted several people from the program. Not a lot, but 5 or 6 people that I really wanted to get to know. Some of them don't text me much anymore, but several of my roommates do. One in particular, the guy that I'm actually rooming with, not just in our like apartment. So yeah, and then I guess that leads into the audition, because most of the auditioners started to get to know each other on an audition page, like a page for people who were auditioning for the performer auditions. I guess that was a little redundant, but we'll go with it. We got to know each other, we got a couple text messages, and we kind of met up. But it wasn't until the morning of the audition when people started really posting just over and over and over again, because we were trying to find a place to get breakfast. And I got there a little early, but I got lost. I got lost in North Atlanta and stopped at a Chick-fil-A, and it just so happened to be the Chick-fil-A that everyone had decided to meet at. And I just kind of walked in, and hey, there's 15 to 20 people, and they're all just like, are you auditioning for the college program? And so we got to know each other through that a little bit. It was nice. So let me back up a little bit into that story. Getting there, I took one day to get there. It was one day there and back. I did not spend in a hotel over by Roswell or in Atlanta. I woke up at like 4 in the morning and drove from North Alabama to Atlanta. Got there within good time. I got there a little early. Had some time to get a little breakfast at Chick-fil-A, like I said. And then got together with the group, and then we just kind of shifted. I think it was like, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a mile down the road, which is where the studio was, where we auditioned. Food. Speaking of food, I ate breakfast that day, and they did not dismiss us for lunch. We did get out, I think, around like 3 o'clock-ish, so it wasn't too late, but I would recommend getting like a good breakfast before going into the audition. You really don't want to go in there hungry, and you're not going to get a lunch break at noon. So do keep that in mind. How many people were there? Sorry, I've got a list down here. I'm going off of stuff just so I don't ramble. How many people were there? There were about 180 to 190 people there. They divided us up into groups of 60, and there were 3 groups, so that's about 180. What can I say? We were never told not to say anything about the dances, but just out of personal, I guess, whatever, I'm just not going to do it. Besides, it changes. I'm sure it changes every tour they do. It changes. So they broke us up into groups of 60. The groups of 60 did some little exercises, mostly dancing. It was mostly dancing. Of course, you think about what they're auditioning for, and it's mostly parade dancers. So you have to think about that. But I'm white. I'm white, and on top of that, I'm a male. Now, that doesn't mean that all white males can't dance. However, I can't. So I did my best, and I stayed confident through the whole thing, but the fact is, I screwed it up a lot. So yeah, that was that. I don't know how I stuck out or how any of that worked, but yeah, that's how it went. How it's organized. They did break us down into 60 people, and then they made cuts. They got everyone in a group. When they made cuts, they got everyone in a group, all 60 of us, and they said, we want numbers, da 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 da, and they listed off a bunch of numbers. I think it was about 20 numbers, and they said, go over to this corner, and then the rest of you can go home. You're done. And then they took the 20 of us and mixed us in with 20 people from the first group. We were the second group. So 20 people from the first group, 20 people from the second group, and we just sat there and we kind of did some paperwork stuff. But we just kind of sat there and got to know the other group a little bit better. And then after about maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, the 20 from the third group came in, and we kind of mingled with them as well. So everybody filled out some paperwork, and then that was the big group. And the big group went in, and once again, there was about 60 to 70 of us, and we went in there and we were taught a much more complicated dance. Much more complicated dance, which I made a fool of myself, but that's okay, because a lot of those people are never going to see me again, hopefully. But so yeah, we did more complicated dance. We did a little acting, which I can do much better, even though I'm not much of an actor either. Acting is a lot easier in my opinion. And then after they taught everything to let us do a little bit as a big group, they took us all back into the smaller room away from everybody else, and they took us in by 5s, groups of 5 people, and they would say numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, because that's all that was left. Number 5 got cut or whatever. They would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and those 5 people would go in there and they would do the really hard dance that they taught us and do a little bit of acting, and then they were sent home. And then they would take in another 8, 9, 10, 11, and 13, and you'd go in, and I was like I was like 80 something, 81, 82. So they took us in. I went in there. I was with one other guy and 3 girls, and just smiled and screwed it up and stayed as confident as I could, I guess. And then they said, we don't need to see you anymore. Go home. Bye. Thank you. And I said, well, okay, I tried, and I was pretty confident that I didn't get a part. Da-da-da. Okay, so that was how that went. And I left, and I just drove straight home from there. I thought I was gonna go to Six Flags, and I drove by, but then they weren't gonna open until 6 o'clock, which, like I said, we got out at like 2, 3 o'clock. So that kind of went down the drain, and so I just drove home. And that was it. So I got home, and I just kind of accepted the fact that I wasn't going to be a performer, and I was okay with that. And until an amazing thing happened. And that's for another video. But anyway, thank you guys for your time. I hope everyone's day is going great. And I hope it keeps going great. Thank you.